Welcome to the Dumbfounded Dipshits podcast. I am Mike, and that is Ryan. We are your dipshits.
What's up, dipshits?
What's up, dipshits?
What's up, dipshits? So I feel a little clever coming up with the name for this week's episode.
Instead of, you could explain it.
Well, yeah, on a play on Cocaine Bear. Like we already had our Heroin Elephant. Snuffleupagus was our Heroin Elephant. Like we already had the animal, like on the DL consuming copious amounts of narcotics.
How was Cocaine Bear?
I didn't see Cocaine Bear yet.
Oh, I think you said you saw it.
No, my intent was to go and see it by midweek. I didn't want to go on the weekend because I hate going to, unless it's like I have to see the movie, which I didn't have to see it. Like in reality, I could probably wait for it to go to streaming. But the thing is, like,
I thought it was streaming.
There's a lot of hype. If it came out a year earlier, it'd be a streaming movie. But
yeah, I thought it was a streaming movie. I didn't realize it was in theaters.
Yeah, they're putting everything in theaters, back in theaters now. They're releasing all sorts of ridiculous shit.
I was just flashed.
Nice.
Anyway, nice. I'm so distracted now because they're just boobies flopping in my face. Well, not flopping, and then not in my face, they're all the way over there. Now she's mad at me for saying the word flopping. I'm just going to stop talking now and go back to my podcast, okay?
Keep digging.
It's hard to focus when there's two flapjacks over there. No, it's a joke. It's not real flapjacks, Isn't flapjack a pancake?
That would be pertaining to the posterior. Pancakes are the other side.
I'm done talking about this.
So there have been, we have drunk monkeys in Costa Rica, right? Like these things exist.
Yep. Yes.
So the idea of the movie is fantastic because it's like
it's a true story,
loosely based on a true story.
Is it loosely based on a true story?
Spoiler alert: the bear in real life dies. I think.
Eventually, after going on a cocaine rampage, it died.
Yeah, I don't think it ate in real life. I don't think it ate the whole bundle. I think in the movie it eats the whole bundle and goes on a rampage because they're sort of marketing this movie to be like a comedy horror. So it's going to be dark comedy, sort of ironic bear killing kind of shit.
It was directed by Elizabeth Banks, I think.
Yeah, and she's a movie maker now. She's like a director. Like she's directed other things too. I think.
Really? Let's see.
Yeah. Comedy also. I think she's directed some comedies, I think.
Where? It's so hard to find it now. Okay. Really? It's hard to find it because she's in so many things that it's like starring.
Starring, but directing. I think she's directing. She also produces too, I think. Which I think is pretty cool. Like when actors make that move, like where they're like, I don't want to do the acting. I want to tell people what to do. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see what certain animal cartoon characters would like be on like heavy drugs. Like okay, you ever see the video of there was like I think like some sort of a shepherd or a sheepdog that had eaten psychedelic mushrooms, and its owner comes out to the backyard and see the dog is bugging and notice that there's been like a chewed up mushroom patch, and the dog is clearly like on some other planet, tripping on mushrooms.
I want to be a dog tripping on mushrooms.
Yeah, it was about 2 kilos, right? And ran 100 meters and died in real life. I don't think you're right, cronies, that it did live long, and I don't think it attacked anybody in real life, or it may have charged at someone, but then sort of comedically, like Family Guy flopped on its side and then just died of a heart attack. But the idea of a bear going on a fucking rampage, I think I will go see the movie. I do want to see the movie. I'm intrigued, right? Just to see what, because the thing is, I've often wondered, because it's sort of like a gory kind of like slasher movie too, because the bear is like the killer. What it would be like if you had certain like, not just animals just high on fucking cocaine or like illegal drugs, but what if you had like actual horror movie serial killers and what they were fucking sniffing or smoking. You know, like what it would be like to have like methamphetamine Freddy Krueger. Or maybe Freddy Krueger is on meth. Maybe Freddy Krueger is on meth because he never sleeps. He's always in your dreams. He doesn't let anybody else sleep, right? And he's just like sort of burnt from all the fucking hot pipe fucking smoke. You know what I mean? Like he's just meth seared himself. Like he blew himself. Yeah, he looks like he blew himself up in a meth lab, and then he just decided to become a child molester and kill kids. Wow. Which sounds pretty methy. I don't know. That sounds meth-like.
Oh fuck! I'm yawning. I'm sorry.
Mike Myers is like heroin killer because he's just like.
Yeah,
and you don't know if he's nodding off.
And he can't die.
Maybe. Yeah, he's just. You think he's standing there, but he's just really nodding off, standing up. Like he's just like.
Wow.
You know, but you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface is on.
Do you guys hear that noise? By the way, like a humming.
Yes, I hear a humming.
What the fuck?
I thought
from outside. It's not coming from. It's like.
Is there a generator outside? Is somebody running a generator? I thought that was your aura, Mike. I thought it was just like.
No, I thought it was the headphones. I take it off. It's not. It's outside. It's very weird. Maybe it's the siren. Maybe it's the end of the world.
Well, I'll tell you what. Living in New York for 30 some odd years, I did see a few crackhead pigeons. A lot of crackhead pigeons. You know, like raccoons can't be really crackheads because they're sort of fat and tumbly, right? Like, what do raccoons do? Like raccoons are just like potheads, right? Because they'll just like eat
They're kind of stoners. They'll eat anything.
There are stoner animals.
Yeah, they are.
What do you think are what are your stoner animals? Because I got a couple of stuff. Possums are stoner. They're definitely Chiba.
And they also play dead, and they panic very easily, and they play dead.
They're anxiety ridden.
They're
smoking too much of that shit. And raccoons are definitely potheads. Bears, I think, are potheads. Actually, Winnie the Pooh is definitely a pothead bear, right?
When does Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey come out?
Oh, I thought. All right, now is it really is? That's not just a bogus trailer, right?
I don't know. It supposedly really is. Thing.
I thought the trailer was like, oh man, I would like to see something like this as if this is real. And it did seem a lot like, what was that slasher movie that just came out with the clown? That was filmed in Staten Island.
I don't remember.
Oh fuck! It just came out this past Halloween, and it had it was the sequel that just came out. It was very gory. Anyway, so it seemed like just like a gore fest, like sort of spoof. I thought it was like an SNL fucking skit, you know, like sort of trailer. But I guess it is a real movie, right? This Winnie the Pooh
Blood and Honey is a 2023 British independent slasher film written, directed, and produced by.
Where he kills Christopher Robin or some shit, and Piglet's a monster. And,
yes. Yeah. And they ate the other characters.
Yeah. So okay. Now, aside from that, like how extreme that could go, that sounds like methamphetamine Winnie the Pooh. That's Cocaine Bear.
That's methamphetamine or PCP.
That's Cocaine Bear. I think Cocaine Bear is like the real life adaptation of that live action cartoon sort of mashup. But I think Winnie the Pooh and the actual character is Pothead Bear, right? Because he's constantly like. He's just eating and getting 100%. Fat, right? Like Garfield is definitely a fucking pothead, right? Because he's just like sleeping and eating lasagna all the time, right? Yeah. He's like guy on the couch, Garfield.
Yes, Garfield is guy on the couch, 100%.
Yo, what about sloths? Sloths are definitely fucking stoners. They smoke dabs. No. Sloths smoke like sloths go like this with the string of goo, with the string of goo on the hot stone, like they be smoking the big clouds, and sloths just be moving like slow motion. Chameleons are definitely like on LSD, right? Chameleons are tripping.
They might also be stoners, moving very slow.
Yeah, but they look like Hunter S. Thompson, sort of like Dr. Gonzo, like that. What's the guy, the artist, the fucking damn it, Stedman, right?
Hunter S. Thompson.
No, the guy who did the illustrations for Hunter S. Thompson. Something Stedman? Damn, I can't remember. Hunter S. But those, like, see, Garfield is more like a cartoon character, but I mean, like, real life, like, Do you think, like, you know who's a stoner?
Ralph Idris Stedman.
Stedman. So what? I did say Stedman, right?
Yes. First name is
Yes.
Ralph.
Ralph Stedman. Yeah. Like that. Like he used to draw like the lizards, like that. What was the Johnny Depp was in that lizard movie? And the lizard was
Fear
sort
and
of.
Loathing in Las Vegas.
No, yeah, not with the real life. The cartoon. Anyway, so either way, stoner animals, real life animals. Like, what about movie star animals? Like Buck from Married with Children was definitely a stoner, for sure.
Buck from Married with Children.
You don't remember? The dog used to talk, like, but in monologue.
I haven't seen Married with Children in forever.
Classic.
Yeah, it's a
fantastic
fucking great
TV show.
But, oh,
Great
yep.
show.
The second I see a picture of it, I remember now.
Definite stoner, for sure. Do you remember Family Matters? Not Family Matters. Full House, right? Full House. Do you remember what was the golden retriever's name? Rocket?
I don't remember that detail.
Something like that, right?
Was Rocket a stoner too?
I don't know, like DL Surfer Stoner. It was like a surfer dog. It's like a California golden retriever. Like they definitely, if they spoke, they would sound like a, you know, like sort of like a West Coast surfer guy, bruh. You know, dude, bruh.
Bruh, dude. So did you, bruh, dude? Did you watch this the boxing match?
Yes, I did. About? I saw that good shot that Jake Paul gave him. That fucking stammer sort of knocked him back. What was that, like round 5 or something?
It looked more like a trip.
Yeah, he did. He definitely tripped over his heel. But the thing is, the timing was good. The thing is, he got worked. As far as like overall, the whole fight, he was dominated by Fury. So,
yeah.
You know, I mean,
and
listen.
He finally fought an actual boxer. Not that these MMA guys weren't boxers.
Let's roll it back. Roll it back. All the people that he fought leading up into this fight and what everybody said for the last. Now, are we going on 2 years with the hype now?
Yeah, but here's the thing. None of these guys he fought were cans. They weren't shitty.
No, of course.
So you know
except
got some
for
talent.
Ben Askren.
Well,
except for Ben Askren.
Ben Askren's a grappler.
Ben Askren
he's an elite grappler.
In one rule of fighting, in the one, you know, like rule of boxing, and there's no fucking grappling. This guy was a tomato can. They literally gave him up, knowing the promoters all knew that this guy cannot fucking strike for his life. And if it's a wrestling match, he's got you. But if he has to swing hands, he's gonna get hit and go down. And they knew that. That was the one fight that I call shenanigans on. Everything else, Tyron Woodley twice, yes.
I don't call shenanigans on it. It was probably a good feeler for fucking Jake Paul. Good feeler fight. This guy has boxed.
Somebody with confidence. It's to give him somebody who has confidence and to show. But he knew he was sacrificed. That's what Ben Askren even said afterwards. That I knew what was going to happen. He didn't even train.
Of course. Dude. I mean, yeah, he looked like shit. He did not look like.
He was. Listen, I was watching videos of Ben Askren before that. What's that frisbee? You throw it for distance and it's got to hit the fucking chains, the basket. It's a game.
Frisbee golf.
Frisbee golf, and he has it in his backyard, and he was just being interviewed by somebody playing that, and they were talking about him training for Jake Paul, and he played it off like it was his own personal egotistical arrogance, but he looked like he was like, listen, why even train for this? You can see it behind his eyes. Why even train for this if I'm going to get beat like a tomato can? And he did. Well, anyway, regardless, right? Let's just say leading up to this fight, what did everybody say? Give him a real boxer. Give him a real boxer. Give him a real boxer. And they gave him pedigree this time. This time they gave him somebody with natural talent.
Well, no.
Because he comes from a family of boxers.
They gave him someone who just went pro, has what? He has like 4 or 5 pro fights?
And he has natural talent. He's got good genetics. He's made for boxing. He's trained well.
I think his brother got the good genetics. I think his brother, who's much taller and bigger.
The dad also is a fucking bruiser, dude. You know what I mean? And he's more athletic. That's the difference. He has more of like a athlete's body. Let's just be honest. I mean, listen, I tell people I have the body of an athlete.
His record's not bad, actually.
Mike, I tell people I have the body of an athlete, but when I'm talking about an athlete, I'm referring to Tyson Fury.
Wow.
I'm built like Tyson Fury. His brother, on the other hand, has the better genetics when it comes to that. He's more built like an athlete. You can tell that he's more versatile because he's a little shorter. He's leaner. You know what I mean? His brother's got the distance. He knows how to. For some reason, Tyson Fury has figured out Floyd Mayweather style mechanics with his long, lanky body.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And he fights like a basketball player should fight.
I would almost say it's more like Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
The shoulder roll and the moving it and
circling. And ducking and dodging and his evasion. Dude, he's just like, he knows how to curl his chin up just to like sort of everything glides off. You know what I mean? And the thing is, he's got, there's like it's a sweet science. And that family has it scientifically figured out. And the thing is, you give him up to this person who's just like Jake Paul's like, he's athletic. He's naturally talented. And we've been surprised that he didn't get tossed around by guys who have knocked people out on a professional fighting record, right? And he got, that's it, his first one. And it was by decision. It's poetic in a way.
By the way, it's his half-brother.
Yeah, I know it's his half-brother.
I didn't know that. It's his half-brother. He's only 23. I didn't realize he was that young.
But it's the dad's, they're the same pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, that's what I mean. The pop's a fighter, too.
Now, so he has... Before he fought Jake Paul, he had 8 pro fights. He was 8-0. Not a bad record, but the first guy he fought, his record, not Tommy's record, the other guy's record, was 10-102.
Tomato can. That's a rotten tomato can.
10-102.
Don't open up that can and eat it because it's got botulism.
The second fight of his professional career. The second fight of his professional career. The fighter's record was 0-26.
Oh, so he fought 2 tomato cans first, right? I mean, look at it this way.
Well, it gets better, Ryan.
It's still Jake Paul. Jake Paul didn't fight any professional boxers.
The third fighter in his professional fighting career, that fighter's record was 0-12. Then the next person he fought, apparently it's his U.S. debut, was on the undercard of Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. He defeated Anthony Taylor, who was 0-1.
So that's sort of.
But he beat a lot of
half fighters, half boxers. But now look at it this way. I call it even Stevens because you want to know why? Because look at it this way. Let's just say, right? Tommy Fury made in his first fight as a boxer, fought a professional boxer. It was a professional fight. It's on a professional record. Jake Paul, on the other hand, fought 6 times before actually fighting a tradesman professional boxer, not somebody who's getting into boxing and fighting professionally. So it's like you're getting MMA guys who are trying out boxing for the first time, not in a training scenario, but in a professional arena, which it is a game change. You know what I mean? You're in a ring. You're not in the octagon.
Weren't they in Saudi Arabia?
The last fight was in Saudi Arabia because it aired here in the afternoon. But listen, I think I call it, like I said, it's poetic. And, like we've all been saying that as soon as he faces an actual boxer, he will lose. Not by knockout, because he looks like a tough guy. That's because Snuffy from Sesame Street is the heroin elephant. And we've been saying this for years. I've heard that Snuffleupagus was high on dope since the 90s. That's been the rumor in the streets. And I guess like Oscar the Grouch is a crackhead, right? Because he's always angry because he doesn't have crack. Right? Isn't that like the rumor too? But anyway,
he's not wild enough to be a crackhead. Not wild.
No, he's angry enough though. I mean, he's like definitely going through something. He's an alcoholic. Oscar the Grouch is definitely an alkie, for sure. But I digress. Anyway, so I think I said once he's going to fight a boxer, he's going to lose. If not dramatically by a knockout, but at least by decision, because he's proven himself to be tough. You know what I mean? He's proven himself to be tough. I'm not going to deny him that he hasn't proven himself. But it leaves it open that he lost by decision for them to have a rematch. And it's perfect for him because he make more money. Everybody's going to want to see the rematch because there's naysayers and people who say that, oh, it went to decision. That's bullshit. He knocked him down, in one of the middle rounds. You know what I mean? So
one knockdown doesn't change the fight. Like that's all these people that I see online talking shit about every boxing match or UFC match or MMA match. They're like, oh, but look at the domination, and they're looking at the numbers from the whole fight. But the numbers for the whole fight do not matter. You need to break it down per round. You need to take in consideration, especially for MMA, it's not all about hits and strikes.
Yeah. But in boxing, those little taps, that in volume they count. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
that's sometimes that's all you need. Those big dramatic knockdowns, like in MMA, when you see somebody, it definitely, I think, obviously, the knockout counts more in MMA than it does in boxing, and I'll tell you why. Because if somebody's
have a good night, Video Tracks Fanatic Rules 2.0. Thanks for
that's a long name. I'm just gonna call you Twofer.
Well, isn't our name long too? Isn't it like the Dumbfounded Dipshits podcast?
Yeah, that's why I said to consolidate it. DFDS. Dumbfounded Dipshits.
No, I understand. He's like, that's a long name.
The D-shits. I was thinking about calling it D-shits.
That's kind of funny.
That is pretty fucking funny. I think calling us D-shits is the shit.
Yeah, because we are the Dumbfounded Dipshits podcast.
The Dumbfounded Dipshits podcast. Yeah, what? Represent. Woo-woo. Anyway, I think that Jake Paul should fight him again. And then if he loses...
Waste of time, bro.
You think the rematch is a waste of time?
Mm-hmm.
For Jake Paul? Do you think for the money it's a waste of time? Do you think he should go to somebody else and fight elsewhere?
The only reason why there is an argument for a rematch is because of one judge. Because it was a split decision. It wasn't unanimous.
It's in the contract. What about that? What about it's in the script?
That I don't know what's in the contract or the script. The script, wow.
Somebody's calling the script on this too. Dude,
they call a script on everything, man.
I love it.
They're like, Tyron Woodley threw the second fight or the first fight. I forgot which fight it was.
Dude, I mean, listen, I don't subscribe to the football conspiracy so much, but thinking that it could be a fraud is fun. You know what I mean?
Well, thinking in the banter is fun, sure.
It's so much fun. So in fighting, it's more plausible actually because one person throwing a fight could happen. When you have too many different parties like you do in a football field, it's a little hard to throw a fucking game to get all. You need at least 60 people to be in on something for you to have a conspiracy happen, and you're not getting 60 people to coordinate on the Super Bowl. And even more than 60 people, you'd probably need hundreds of people in offices and shit to know about that to fucking. So it's not happening. In a fight, on the other hand, I think that could happen. But I don't think that it's happening in this case. I don't think but as soon as Jake Paul lost, people started calling script on Reddit, on fucking on Twitter.
I didn't think he won. I don't know anyone that actually thought he won.
This is the thing. I think that they're provocateurs, trolls that, or you get Jake Paul worshipers, like people who are super fans and shit, you know what I mean? Who are still under the hypnosis of the hype, Which, hey, listen, some of us are guilty of that shit. I was guilty of that shit with Conor McGregor, and I had to snap out of that shit real quick when it was just like, it's not going to happen, bro. That's it. That flared out. If you want, find excitement elsewhere.
Is he coming back, by the way? He is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Michael
Chandler. I'm more hype about the comeback this weekend with fucking...
Oh, okay.
With
John Bones Jones.
Yes.
What's up, tie me up?
Tie me. What's happening? So, John Bones Jones. Yo, Heroin Elephant. Yo, Cocaine Elephant would be something, bro. Just like snorting a fucking fat rail and then just going on a stampede.
Because it has a built-in straw, doesn't it? It has a built. It doesn't need to do. It doesn't need to do the.
Just like stamping shit. just like fucking up lions. Yo, elephants could just like chuck a lion. Like they could just go and just like fucking launch a lion high on cocaine. They would need a lot of cocaine, more cocaine than Cocaine Bear needs, because that's for real.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think when they found the bear, the dead bear, it had cocaine in its belly still, undigested cocaine.
Undigested, yes. And I don't know how I know. Don't ask me how I know, but you could eat cocaine and get high on cocaine.
Well,
you gotta eat a lot of it.
No, you don't have to eat a lot of it.
I don't mean a lot of it, but you gotta eat at least a gram to really feel it. Yes. I'm not talking about rubbing it on your mouth. I'm talking about like eating it like toothpaste. But I don't know anything about that. Anyway, so let's just say, right? Cocaine Bear had to eat in real life 2.5 kilos to die. I think in the movie they make it like that it just tears apart 10 kilos of cocaine and even goes back to it. I think in the movie, don't quote me on this because I haven't seen it yet, that it goes back for more, right? But a bear dies after 2.5 kilos of cocaine. How many kilos of cocaine would it take to kill an elephant? I think if an elephant snorted 2.5 kilos, it wouldn't die.
5
kilos.
5 to 7.
Triple it. So triple the dose to kill an elephant.
5 to 7. 5 to 7, I say. Seems like a good number.
Yeah. Tastes like aspirin and gasoline.
Does it really? I wouldn't know.
Oh, yeah, you don't know.
Okay. He's like, oh, yeah, you don't know. He's like, you fucking amateur, you don't know. I don't. I was talking about at work, not talking about cocaine, but it was like a joke about it, and it was actually about a party I went to where it was like an open cocaine buffet, and I don't do cocaine and never did, and I was just like, oh, great, where's the weed? And like, oh, it's right there. I'm like, why is it so close to the cocaine? But anyway, and he's like,
Bully!
He goes, ooh, I used to love cocaine in college. He's like, I couldn't get enough of that shit. I'm like, and like, he's not even, you wouldn't expect he did cocaine. And I'm like, wow, bro.
Listen,
like,
doctors, lawyers, dudes in white collars, like the biggest amount, I guess like the most sales go to people in white collars, most definitely. As far as cocaine goes, crack on the other hand, different story. Meth, different story. You know what I mean? But
it's crazy that because crack is like cocaine, the same drug, concentrated.
Yeah, or they do something to it. They fucking cook it and do some shit to it that changes the molecule or whatever. But you know.
Now we're gonna watch a video of the difference between cocaine and crack.
Wait, hold on. Yes, but before that, this is a good segue too. Speaking about cocaine bears, John Jones, right, gained a lot of fucking weight to fight in heavyweight.
He also said it's the best weight cut he ever had because he didn't have to cut any weight.
He didn't. He just stayed, and that's it. He's like in the 230s, right? He's got to be or at least 240. He looks gigantic. His neck is just like formed to his skull. He used to have a neck. Now he has no neck. He's looking rotund.
You think he's gonna win?
Legs still skinny as fuck. Cyril gone, right? That's who he's fighting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cyril, this is my argument with, okay, it's cliche, ring rust, right? Okay? But I do think that it's John Jones, and I've been following him. I haven't taken him off of Instagram since I started following him like 5 or 6 years ago. And even though he beat up a whole bunch of women and shit like that. And
who beat up a whole bunch of women?
I don't know. Or he beat up one woman a whole bunch of times. Like,
what do you mean?
I've been following him, and this motherfucker's been training hard and gaining weight. And shooting guns and training fucking dogs and just working. So I believe that he is still in shape, like fantastic, great shape. And even great shape for the size that he's at. I think he's more prone to gassing easily, but that's just because of the fact that your stamina goes down a little bit when you put on that much weight, especially when you're that big, dude. If you're in he was walking around, people were saying he was walking around at 260. after weighing in easily at 205 without having to try, he didn't have to try to really cut that much weight to make 205. He was walking around at maybe 215, 220, but he put on like 40 pounds, people were saying. He's a lot of fucking weight, dude. In muscle, that's a lot of fucking weight.
Walking.
But ring rust, he's been out of the game for 3 years, right? Ciryl Gane is like now still hot. He's still warmed up. He's still in the game. He's still unaffected by crowds. You know what I mean?
So
like
what I was gonna say about John Jones, he would walk around at 230, so he gained like probably 10 to 15 pounds. He didn't gain too much weight. And you gotta remember regarding his speed and all that other stuff, his brothers are NFL football players. They're all fast. They're very fast and they're very jacked. Yeah.
And big.
Like, how tall is?
Listen, I think as far as skill and strength and the science goes, I think that John Jones has the advantage, right? But John Jones is a cold muscle when it comes to right now. He's a cold muscle when it comes to the crowd, when it comes to the hype of fight day. Ciryl Gane has had a whole bunch of big fights in the last 2 years. He's had 4 fights that were pretty, substantial.
But he got okay. The problem with him is he got wrestled to the ground and held down.
Now, this is the only way I think it ends good for John Jones is on the fucking ground immediately.
Ngannou. He got beat by Ngannou by being out wrestled by a guy that isn't a wrestler and who has 2 bad knees.
That's where I think Ciryl Gane can kick the shit out of John Jones at that weight. He's used to being that. He's used to fighting people at that weight. He hasn't had to change his body. His body's still the same. He's got control over it. John Jones, on the other hand, having to fight heavyweight, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody who hasn't had to cut weight. Somebody who may possibly have a little bit more stamina than he does at that weight. After coming in cold, because Ciryl Gane's still warmed up. He's a warmed up muscle. John Jones is a stiff muscle. Dude, because he hasn't fought in 3 years. I don't care what you say.
I mean, you
gotta get used to the crowd.
The last time Ciryl Gane fought was last year. I don't think the crowd's gonna bother him. He's been in court in public eye for a long time. He's been doing it like John Jones is.
I think it'll affect him. I think it'll have an effect on him. But otherwise, I think skill-wise, John Jones has some otherworldly fucking knowledge about fighting. Where he could fucking kick the shit out of you standing up. He could also fucking take you to the ground. Most likely he's going to take you to the ground because he's a great fucking wrestler. And he's dominated other wrestlers. Like, you know what I mean? Namely Daniel Cormier. You know what I mean? And if he gets into his zone like he normally does, he's fucking putting the work on Ciryl Gane. But the thing is, if Ciryl Gane if it's just a kickboxing match, you know how this goes.
That's
any given Saturday night, somebody could get knocked the fuck out.
John Jones is not stupid. His ring IQ, his fight IQ is very high.
Yes, you're right.
And like you gotta remember, he was beating world-class fighters when he was barely training and fucked up on drugs.
I want John Jones to win. This is my final note on this. I want John Jones to win, but I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I would not bet on this fight. Let's just put it that way. And I'm saying that because honestly, if John Jones wins, I'm going to tell people, Nate Diaz styles, not surprised, motherfucker. You know what I mean? But if Ciryl Gane wins, I'm going to say it's a fair win because he's going to win in a fashion where it's clean. You know what I mean?
It's probably a pay-per-view. Time me up. It's probably pay-per-view on Saturday.
It's pay-per-view on Saturday night, and I believe that there's another
ESPN app or ESPN.com. Maybe.
ESPN Plus, or you could find some sort of. I'm not saying how you stream your live events.
The easiest way to watch fights illegally right now is on
NemNetTorrents.com. That's probably an actual fucking website. Watch that. There'll be some black
You can
market.
find if you follow the right people, you could find it streaming somewhere.
Ask your Gen Z fucking cousin or nephew or whatever or little brother.
Oh yeah, we're cheap too. We support it in other ways. We don't buy the pay-per-views.
No, yeah. I mean, listen, I buy pay-per-views. You know,
It was
wink,
funny because
wink.
I was watching it with someone online, like we were
No, but
video.
we buy tickets to these fights, though. We go and we watch these.
Yeah,
We support them, and we buy their merch. And I've been to several fights with you. You've been to several fights with me. Several in
more
the
than several.
double digits galore. We've been to fights together. Different kinds of fights. We've been to Muay Thai
Wait,
fights
were you
together.
part of? Wait, you weren't part of. Wait, were you when we drove to Buffalo?
Yes. Well, when we drove to Boston for
I remember Boston.
for Dillashaw cruise, where
That was
Cruz retook
awesome.
the belt after being. Now this is another thing. He was out for 2 years and with a major injury and couldn't train for most of that time, and then went and in decision took the fucking belt back. I'm just saying, like, and Cruz
Dude,
is a name
yeah,
that you speak
that
of with
fight.
natural talent. Guys who are just naturally talented.
He
John
took
Jones is
out
that
a
guy.
prime. He didn't take out, but he beat a prime TJ Dillashaw.
Prime TJ, dude.
Yeah.
Prime. And we saw that very close. We were like
Yeah.
seven
That
rows
was an
back.
incredible fight.
Yeah, I felt sweat. That
Yeah,
we drove for that. We went to Bellator.
Mohegan Sun?
Mohegan Sun. I think Chael Sonnen fought, maybe?
Your girl from Garrison,
From Garrison Beach.
too.
Oh yeah, Hardy.
Heather
Hardy. She lost that time. We saw her.
She
We
got
saw her
ass
at the.
kicked that time.
She got her ass beat that time by that lesbian chick, dude.
Mhm.
We saw her at the Garden, and she won.
And those tickets were so cheap compared to because that was Bellator. Compared to UFC, those were dirt cheap.
Yes,
Mohegan
it was
Sun.
1/5 the price.
When I went to the Mohegan Sun, I had no interest in the card at all. It was just Bellator, and
Yeah.
it was $50, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's like $50, and we're like front row practically.
I think like with service fees, it came out to just under 60. But yes,
It was like 70.
and
Yes,
we did drive to Buffalo. We went to Vegas to see fights.
yes, we
Fights
did.
in Vegas.
Yes,
I
that
didn't
was
go.
cool.
I didn't go to Jersey with you though. You went with other people to Jersey, but I didn't go to Jersey with you. So you
don't
went to
remember
Newark or
Jersey.
something. Yeah, I didn't get to go to that one. And Albany, we went to Albany, New York, also.
I don't think I went to Albany.
Yes, you did. That's when Lydia flipped out about her bag. You remember she lost her
I
bag?
thought that was
and flipped out?
Buffalo.
No, that was Albany. Buffalo was when Lydia fought with Matt over the chicken wings.
Wow, I thought those were the same time. I thought that was the same time.
No, it was because they both happened during the winter, or like I say winter, but I think one of them technically was springtime in Buffalo. Either way,
I don't remember.
who cares? We've been to many of fights together, but the thing is, that's how you support it. So fucking, what's a free pay-per-view? You know what I mean? They're making money from us either way. I feel like if I go to one of those fights, they owe me at least 3 or 4 free pay-per-views, at least, for the price you pay for those fucking tickets. Oh,
Right.
I might be going, speaking of which, I might be going to this one down here in Miami, which is going to be the Izzy Pereira rematch.
Interesting. I don't know who's gonna win that fight.
This is my proposal. I think maybe we should do all right, if you want to do like a main event fight companion, if you think we could maybe, because I don't think that, I'm thinking like if we had the fights on in both our respective places and then we had our StreamYard show, our fights may not be synced. So how would you sync the broadcast to the fight? Because someone would have to do it and timestamp it to how far it is on.
Well, if you're gonna be the one, if you're gonna buy the pay-per-view, the only way it'll be synced if I also bought the pay-per-view. If I stream it, you'll be ahead of me.
But I still think that could work if whoever was ahead, it was just timestamped to theirs, because then that person could give a delay on their reaction. So that would be the game. I would have to not give up any. I'd have to be like,
Well, we did
you know what I
we
mean?
did this during the pandemic, I think.
Yes, I think we did. I think we did this. I think we did it for. It was like not a numbered event. or maybe we did do it for an actual pay per view. I thought we did it for
I
a
don't
fight night.
I don't remember what it was.
We could attempt to do it again. Either way.
Yeah, we could do it.
Either way, this one coming up this weekend is going to be fucking awesome because we're waiting for a legend to come back, an actual Hall of Famer. And yeah, that's it, man. I hope John Jones doesn't blow it this time again.
Well, you do realize he knocked for an amount of banned substances that they don't even test for anymore.
So he could be on some of the shit that he was.
What allegedly had happened, he wasn't taking I don't think it was a steroid, but it might have been a drug to cover up steroids or something. But he wasn't taking it. It was probably a tainted substance, a tainted supplement.
Like something that had shake of a residue in it.
No, well, all these places make the same things. So some of the places that sell regular shit at GNC might have a banned substance in it. Like I used to take when I used to work out like an animal, I used to take this stuff called muscle marinade or muscle something, and I used it, and it shredded you. Like you would sweat, and you were ripped. 2 years after I stopped working out really hard, I was doing MMA, so I wasn't doing the same weightlifting. They took that off the market because of a banned substance was found in it. It had what was it? But had you been an athlete, you would have popped positive when you're just taking this stuff from
what
GNC.
I hear is that sometimes just for the stuff that gives you like the energy boost, like the pre-workouts, some pre-workouts have amphetamines, right? And or things that could come up as the molecule for
things that are very similar. Exactly.
Yeah, like ephedra was back in the day. Like Ma Wong was a herbal supplement that you could take that had meth in it. It legit had. It was like if you ate enough of them, it was like taking a high dose Adderall, and it was legit like amphetamines in a bottle. You could buy it from GNC, you could buy it from Vitamin Shop. That baseball player fucking keeled over in spring training and died of a heart attack, and they took it off the shelves. Ephedra.
I remember that.
Ephedra, and that used to be in diet pills. It used to be
I remember I was doing
an over-the-counter
overnight
supplement.
shift at a fast food place.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be exhausting. I didn't sleep yet. I have to stay up all night. Someone goes, here, take this. It's stacker 2 with ephedra.
With ephedra. Yes.
Take this. When you get tired, take this. So about around 2 a.m., I'm crashing hard. And this was connected to a Dunkin' Donuts. So I had 2 coffees already and it was doing nothing for me. So I popped that shit. Oh my God. I had nothing to do, but I started prepping vegetables for the next shift. I'm slicing tomatoes. I got bored. I was like slicing tomatoes, packing lettuce, packing the deli meat. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that shit was killing people.
Uh-huh.
So, anyway, now a lot of these supplements get made overseas or just in other countries, and they get shipped here. And there could be residue of other things because they make other supplements there that get sold other places in the world. But as far as how it goes in professional sports, you cannot use. Now, that being said, John Jones claims, right, that the stuff that he was taking may have had some of this residual
He doesn't claim
substance.
it. The investigation, I think, showed it.
Yes.
And now the amount that was in it that he popped for, which was like something less than a microgram.
So now you were just saying before that there are
they don't
things,
even test for it anymore.
There are things that they don't even test for. So it's like
no, they still test for the drug, but I'm saying they don't test for that amount of the drug. It's like such a small amount that it was me. It's some like
it's microns. Like it's like
yes.
a certain like it's an insignificant amount. And ineffective. It's not something that could actually contribute to any sort of performance enhancement because that's how little there is.
See, okay, Jones tested positive for Tornabol, causing his win to be overturned to a no contest, along with a 15-month suspension.
T-ball is serious shit, though. T-ball is, you know that like the actual substance. I guess that's why they fucking flagged it because
showing very low levels of the same substance, levels so low that they don't even test for anymore.
Yeah, well, Tyrannoball, right? That's what a Tyrannoball.
Yeah.
D-ball and T-ball. Like, all right, so I mean, like
it's a metabolite. It's such a small. See, they don't even. It's such a small amount that they don't even test for anymore because
Now,
they.
that being said, right, that wasn't the only thing that he got busted for as
Well, it was
far as.
cocaine.
Okay, right. If doing it the night before is not a performance enhancer. Let's just say that.
No, it's definitely not. A performance.
So to say that when he
might be
said
the
like, "Yo, I
opposite.
was doing blow last night and I fucked you up the next day," that's sort of a fucking diss.
Who did he say it to
Especially
again? He said it to
Daniel Cormier.
Cormier, right?
Yes.
That's what I mean. He took out these guys that were like top guys while barely even training.
Inhuman.
Like when he beat what's his face? The tall one. The fucking
The Swedish guy
Yes,
or Danish
yes.
guy?
The Swedish guy. What's his name?
Yeah.
I forgot his name. The first time he beat him, he had a hard time. It was a very
Not
close fight.
Gustafsson, the fucking
Yes.
other
No,
dude.
Gustafsson.
Yeah.
The first time he fought him, he had a very hard time. He won decision, but he had a very hard time.
Yes.
He
The
came out
second
later
time.
on. He came out later on saying, "I wasn't even training for that fight at all. I didn't have a camp. I didn't train at all.
I believe
I'm not
him
gonna
too.
make that mistake again." The next fight, he beats him in like the first round or second round.
I remember that. And it's just it's freakish how somebody, because we've all been there, going into work the next day after like you probably shouldn't have gone out the night before, and but from what I understand, John Jones is a individual who knows how to party. Like
He's also
he could probably hang with the likes of Charlie Sheen and fuck man, I forgot his name from the Dallas Cowboys. Michael Irving. You know what I mean? But the thing is, like fighting is another thing on like too. It's not like Babe Ruth, fucking hookers, smoking cigars and drinking and boozing the night before, Mickey Mantle hitting home runs the next day. This guy's getting hit by other people who are like, for lack of a better term, trained killers. You know what I mean? So
yeah, 100%.
that can definitely shine through, but 3 years is a long time when you're over the age of 30.
Listen, John Jones is the
On the body.
only. He's also the only UFC fighter, the only one, to lose to someone else's face.
What do you mean?
He got beat by a face.
Do you mean like a wrestling face?
No, he got beat by a face. Matt Hamill's face beat John Jones.
Oh. Yes.
That one loss that haunts him forever.
One loss, yes.
Matt Hamill. I think he retired after that fight. So the guy beat the best of the best and then retired.
Which is, dude, respect, because that's when, in hindsight, if you're Captain Hindsight, that's when you're saying I should have retired, right? Like, think about that. I beat John Jones and then I lost the next 4. You say I should have retired when I beat John Jones.
In reality, something's in my throat. In reality, I'm wrong.
No, sorry.
In reality, I am wrong. John Jones. He beat John Jones. Wow, listen to my voice.
It sounds cummy. You sound like you got a little cum bubble in your throat.
So after John Jones lost to Matt Hamill, Hamill then beat a bunch of people before retiring, including Tito Ortiz. He lost to Gustafsson. He lost to Quentin Jackson. He lost to a bunch of people, then retired.
Those are some notable. Listen, Rampage, right, and Alex Gustafsson. Those are pretty diesel fucking losses. Like I'm saying, like as far as like, hey, I got beat, but look at Bisping. Bisping's an animal. I'm sorry. Those last how many fights? 5 fights without an eye, dude. Come on. He had a belt with one fucking eye. What a fucking pirate. The motherfucker is a savage pirate.
Oh, Michael Bisping? Yeah.
Podcaster.
Yeah, man.
Michael Bisping is fucking, and we got to see him too. He lost to GSP. When we saw him, but we got to see a legend fight, and that was an honor. And I I fucking love him.
I was rooting for Bisbing.
Yeah, because you know what? Like I get that, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I wanted to see GSP, like Superman come back in the game and take it, but if Bisbing won, it would have been more poetic. And I could
Exactly.
understand why people would want that
Like
because
it's the underdog kind of story where
yes.
he's a great fighter. He's always been a great fighter.
And for this reason too, Mike, and you might agree with this. You've been gone for all these years. You want to come back now? You said you were retired. Now you want to come back? Fuck that shit. Like, just stay retired. Like, some people have that feeling when it comes to people coming back after retiring. Like, people have that
Yeah.
like Tom Brady, for example. He had to retire again. He's getting paid $370 million to be a broadcaster. So who's winning now? Like, everybody's like, oh, Giselle left him, and it's like he still makes $370 million just to talk on television for the next couple of years. So who's really a loser? I mean, but the thing is, like GSP coming back, you don't want that shit. You want the underdog, like you just said. You know what I mean? And that's why people were sort of rooting against it. And I get it, but I was happy to see GSP fight too. That was an honor also, like just to see these two guys fucking slug it out at the Garden.
GSP's only two losses is Matt Serra and Matt Hughes.
The Mats.
And you know what?
That was epic too. That Matt Hughes loss was fucking pretty epic, man. That's like one of my earliest memories of GSP because I had just like I've had my waves with MMA. Like there was like the early, the freak show.
Mm-hmm.
And the wrestlers would come over to like WWE and shit like that. Then you would have like these guys who were UFC fighters, but then they were wrestlers. And then I fell off for a few years. And in the early 2000s, it was like Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture and GSP and Matt Hughes, and then Matt Serra and BJ Penn. And then it sort of like got quiet for a little while for like the early 2010s. And then by the time 2013, when like, not saying that this is what did it, because a lot of people fucking hate like women fighters, like some people like, but around the time that they introduced like Ronda Rousey, I feel like that's when it got its next surge. You know what I mean? Because then after Ronda, you had Conor, and then it was just like fucking old. But now it's one of the biggest sports in the world. I'm honestly gonna say this in the next like 10 years. I think it's gonna be. I don't know what it is now, but everybody knows soccer is number one worldwide, right? Like soccer, like football, soccer in America is the biggest sport worldwide. And I don't know what's next, but I guarantee you MMA will be number 2 in the next 10 years worldwide. And I think it's already surging there too, because you know what I mean? I think it increased in popularity amongst the big 4. MMA amongst baseball, football, hockey, and basketball in the United States has surged in viewership past some of these sports, and they're seeing the threat, I think. And that's why like the MLB baseball is implementing these pitch clocks and shit to speed the games up because people get tired. That's why you don't like going to games, because of this. They're eliminating a lot of those problems.
I don't like going to games, not because of that.
It's boring. Well, that's what a lot of people say, the time in between and shit.
You could speed up things for me, but it doesn't make the sport itself any less boring to me. I like that it's slow because if I want to go to the place and eat food and drink a little, I want it to be slow.
Yeah.
You don't want to go there and drink a beer and then it's over.
And rush out, right. But you're still there for over 3 hours. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's still, I loved going, and some people would bitch and be like, this game's taking too long.
You don't have to stay for the whole game.
I know. And I'd like to, sometimes I'd like to be at the ballpark for 4 hours. Sometimes I'd go to the ballpark, stay for 2 hours, and then bounce, like in the middle of a game, or like, not too far after the middle.
Yeah,
I've done that too. I've gone to baseball games just to pick up the bobblehead, walk in the park. The game didn't even start. I'm out of the park. I'm in the fucking car driving somewhere else. We actually drove to Chris Weidman in Nassau Coliseum the last time he fought in Nassau. After going to a Met game to pick up a bobblehead, me, my brother, and our friend Lou walked out the back exit to get back to the car. And as people saw us walking out with the bobbleheads, walking back into the car, we were getting cursed at. People were cursing at us.
Yeah, because you guys abandoned them before. You just went for the bobbleheads.
They were not fucking happy about that. So we had to fucking skedaddle real quick because people in Queens aren't too hospitable to people who have schemed the system and haven't let anybody else in on the fucking. But hey, listen, I've gone to so many fucking games. Listen, you don't know me. Y'all don't know me. I'm going to do me. And I'm going to get my bobblehead. And I go to games several times a year, even though I live in a different state. I'm going to fucking a baseball game this weekend. I went to a baseball game last weekend. I'm going to 3 in a row. Dude, it doesn't matter. Like, so I've paid my dues. I'll get my bobblehead. That's my point.
You're wasting a valuable time of your life watching overpaid people do things.
Yeah, but I party while that's all going on. I talk to people in the fucking crowd.
I know. It's just
I make weird friends. I do like I say uncomfortable shit in front of people's children.
I love it. Oh yeah, that's so great. I told a story about that time there was the Twitter person in front of us at the fights.
Yes. Oh yeah. There was man, maybe ask Lou. Okay, I'll tell you what. Ask Lou and see what he says. There was some internet dude sitting next to us at the Garden for the Izzy Pereira fight last November. And I don't know who it was, but he like had some like tall model chick with him and another guy who's holding a camera and the fucking and the circle light. And he was apparently like interviews MMA guys or whatever. He was sitting in our section, and I didn't know who the fuck this guy was, but there was you said the Twitter guy when we went, right?
Twitter girl was when we went.
The girl, yes. Yeah. It's always funny when you see these people out in person and stuff like that, too. Like,
well, this one wasn't like a reporter. This person was basically a fucking social justice warrior.
Yeah.
She said she was at a Trump rally. No, you weren't at a Trump rally. You were at UFC fights.
You're at a UFC fight.
She's like, Trump is here, and they're cheering for him. Well, what actually happened was what they said give a round of applause for the President of the United States. And what you do is you cheer for the President of the United States. They said give it up for Donald J. Trump. I don't think I would have been cheering.
Was that at
MSG?
Yeah, but that wasn't Bisbing. Was that Bisbing GSP? No, it was after that. It was the one where Derek Lewis fought. I remember.
I think so, because we all sat together.
Yes.
A lot of times we end up sitting not together because of pricing and tickets availability. And
that was UFC 205, Conor McGregor and Eddie Alvarez, because that was the first MSG card, and it was like sold out like immediately, and we were like, "What the fuck? We got to try to get tickets." And the only way for us to get tickets were in 2 pairs.
Well, that's happened to us a couple of times because with when Rose Namajunas beat Joanna at MSG, we weren't sitting together.
That was
the same one.
Wait, when Thug Rose beat Joanna?
Yeah.
No, we were sitting in the same section, but no. We were sitting with 5 people, and there were 3 behind and 2 in front in the aisle.
I
1, 2, 3, 4, 5
in a single seat by myself next to strangers.
That one was when Joanna beat Katarina.
Are you sure?
The other pullout, yes.
Because I distinctively remember. Hold on. I always forget they fought.
Oh, tie me up! They did that at so many different fucking UFC events. The fuck Joe Biden chant. There was, I think we were at one where they were didn't they?
It was Khabib Alaquinta.
That was at in Brooklyn. But the thing is,
you're right. That wasn't MSG. That was Brooklyn. But I wasn't sitting with you guys.
You may have gotten tickets later.
I remember, and I know I wasn't sitting with you guys because I got edibles from Lou and I was high out of my fucking mind. And I told the strangers next to me, like, if I'm sleeping during Rose Namajunas, you gotta wake me up.
I think, right? I'm pretty sure. Oh, and Dustin Poirier fought that night too. Dustin Poirier fought that night.
Let's see.
and he got his legs kicked the shit out of by fucking fuck, who the hell was it? I'm pretty sure Dustin
I
Poirier.
don't see him on the card. Ray Borg, Khabib versus Alaquinta, Rose Namajunas versus Joanna and Jacek, Renato Morciano versus.
Do you remember the first Brooklyn card that we went to was pretty whack? That was the Jermaine Durandamine and fucking Holly Holm.
The first UFC fight I ever tried to take my wife to is the one we all fucking hate, and it was boring and it was bad.
And I accidentally ate all of the fucking edibles, and me and your wife were supposed to split them, and I was catatonic for fucking 3 hours. I was stuck in my seat with horse blinders on, wide awake, not sleeping. And Lydia had to get me chicken fingers and fries. I think I had to be fed, and people just kept handing me beers. And I think I ended up with like a whole full beer, and we left, and I didn't even take it with me. That was just sitting in front of me because I was like, I ate too many edibles. Lou comes up to me and he goes, "Yo, what happened to that pack of edibles?" I was like, "Oh, I ate all of them. You told me to go to town." You can't do that with me. You can't hand me Fat Boy Ryan back in the day.
I wouldn't know what that means either, though. That's too little.
Very vague. Very vague.
Like you tell me, here, take this and go to town. I might eat the whole thing. It might not even be edibles. Here's some M&Ms. Go to town. Okay.
I ate about 12. There may have been 12 left of those actual regular sized gummy bears. I don't know what they were each, but it put me in a fucking hole. I think I may have been safe just eating 4 of them and then giving your wife some.
If I remember correctly, they are
10 each?
No, they're more. Like 20, I think, or 15. It was a weird number.
Yeah. Well, I definitely feel like, and I've done this, I've intentionally eaten 200 milligrams.
Yes.
I've intentionally, and I felt like, oh, all right, I expected it. You know, like when you trip and like if somebody doses you on some sort of psychedelic and you're not expecting it, you're going to bug harder.
Yeah.
You're going to bug harder.
Yeah, you're fucked.
And, it doesn't happen to everybody, but it happens to the best of us sometimes. And then you just have to go with the flow. And that's sort of what happens with that, because I did not expect to be tripping that hard off of fucking.
At the Mohegan Sun, when Heather Hardy was fighting, the seats we got were right where they walk out. We were right there, so the cameras would see us. Lou goes, "Hey, Mike, take one of these." I was like, "What is it?" He goes, "It's 150 milligrams." I'm like, "That's a lot." He goes, "They're expired. It probably won't be that strong."
Were those the squares? The green squares?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Dude.
So we eat one each, even though I usually only eat half of one. We eat one each. I could not get. I don't know what was happening. The producer would come out. Everyone cheer! The next fight is coming out. Everyone cheer! And I'm like,
dude, those were
the only good thing was because it's connected to the casino, and you can leave the fucking arena to go to the casino. I went to Ben and Jerry's. And I was eating stone Ben and Jerry's like
I remember that. I remember seeing you with the fucking half melted cup because you didn't finish the whole thing. I don't think.
I think I got like the biggest size they had, and I was vegan at the time. And I got vegan.
But either way, I remember
Ben and Jerry's is good. Even
I remember those green fucking squares.
Yeah, man.
For like an era. Like, so when we had gone to probably 2 or 3 UFCs when they were circulating within our group extensively. And I remember I had a fridge little compartment where you put your butter, and I had it was just my edible stash. Well, my edibles went there because it kept longer, you know what I mean? If I remember getting confectionery, when I mean confectionery, I mean like cookies and cake edibles. They wouldn't last that long if I kept them in Ziplocs outside of the fridge. But if I put them in the fridge, this shit would last months. And I'd be like, all right, I'm not going to eat these now, or maybe I'll eat half of this now. And I can eat the next half 2 weeks later if they were stayed in the fridge. So I had those green motherfuckers for months. I bought a whole bunch of them. And that's what I was told too. They're expired, so they may not be that strong. No, dude. Those things stayed strong for fucking months.
I don't think
there was no half-life.
I think because it comes in a 4-pack. I think they're not made properly, so they don't actually know how much is in each of them. Because
they were all strong, dude.
Yes. Like, from a mutual friend that we would get the same one we were getting those from, I got cupcakes from, and I was given a warning. This cupcake is fucking strong as fuck. Do not eat the whole thing.
I've heard that before.
Take like a bite of it, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I left it in my fridge.
Uh-huh.
I came home from work one day, and my father is in bed, and I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, and I'm like, "What's going on? Are you okay?" And like, he's a drinker, so I'm thinking he might be drunk or whatever. He's like, "Oh," and he starts pointing.
Or he just ate it. He ate some Taco Bell.
He's like, the cupcake in the fridge, and I'm like, "How much of the cupcake did you eat?" He's like, "The whole thing." I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna be high for a while." He said he was high for 3 days. He was high for 3 days.
Damn. Okay, listen. You know what? All right. I've heard this before. Okay, now tell me no. You know, like everybody experiences it differently, right? But with me, right, I have had an instance where I've overconsumed edibles, and the next day woke up high.
Yes.
And now I'm saying I cannot confirm or deny if I ate anything before I immediately went to sleep. But the thing is, I know for sure, very early in the day, right? It was a 3-day weekend. It might have been like a Memorial Day. It was recently when I've been down here in Florida for a number of years, but I'm pretty sure it was either last Memorial Labor Day or the one before that, right? I ate an edible early in the afternoon and barbecued, right? And then I ate another edible. I did not inhale anything that day. I had and as far as alcohol goes, no whiskey. Just, I think I was drinking bitch beers, right? But not
Bud
the flavored ones. Bud Light next,
Coors
I think
Light?
it is.
Right.
So it's Bud Light, it's Bud Extra Light, right? So I was drinking those, so nothing heavy. And I may have eaten another edible of equal value, right? Later on, after the sun had gone down. And then the next day, I had gone to sleep around 12 o'clock, right? Maybe 12, 1 o'clock. The next day, woke up, right? Still fucking bugging for another couple of hours after waking up in the morning. No coffee would straighten me out. So I don't know. And I only had like maybe 6 bitch beers. You know what I mean? But I don't know, dude. I don't know. That shit sometimes lingers in your system. But I also pigged out that day. I ate a lot, so I think it sat in my stomach and just kept me high for several hours.
It all depends.
I may have dropped the tincture before I went to sleep because sometimes I do that as a habit.
There you go.
But I don't know. I don't know. But then the thing is, how the hell am I high for like 5 hours after waking up the next day?
See,
I was definitely high until at least 12 in the afternoon.
Happened to me a rare amount of times, but it's usually because I consumed a large amount. Like, there's been times where I consumed probably 300 milligrams. Not a good idea. And I woke up really fucking high. Really,
well, I've eaten 200, right, and gone down deep the day during that day, evening or whatever, right, and then gone to sleep and woken up like $1 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened with that, but then again, you remember what you said, right? Like, oh well, they didn't really weigh this out the right way, or like measure it while they're fucking pouring the shit in because it was done in the hack. Now it's more of like you're getting it more out of a factory. So I feel like there's like, for example, this one brand of cookies that has like a fake ass Cookie Monster on it. That every cookie feels exactly the same.
See, that's
like
good.
It's very consistent. It's extremely consistent.
The gummies,
and a lot of the semi-hard candies, like the gummy like tapes, you know, like the ones with like the nerd candy. Those have been pretty consistent too.
Yeah, like that's the first thing I noticed in California is what they wrote down. They meant it. Like, I bought a 100 milligram drink, and I'm like, okay, I've eaten a whole 100 milligram Nerd Rope. I've drinking a whole 100 milligram soda that was in New York. That's probably from the black market. I'm gonna drink
in those Red Bull cans. They look like Red Bull cans.
So this is from Cali. It's from a shop. It's recreational. I'm gonna drink half of it and see what it does, because 50 milligrams of legit one is good. So I drink half and I go for a walk in Cali. It's at night. So I'm walking by the beach, and out of nowhere, I stop walking. I just get like tunnel vision. And I'm like, yep, I'm going to be too high. I have to go home. And I just turned right back around and went home, and it hit me. It hit me hard. I was like,
I love how everybody with the edibles and like, especially like everybody gets this. That doesn't happen with dabs. That doesn't happen with dabs. It doesn't happen when I
feel like
smoke.
dabs is the opposite. Everything gets open.
Like too open sometimes. Sometimes too open. Yo, there was one time, and I believe I was in your abode. It was before you had interlocked into matrimony. And I had done a dab off a massive rig that had been in your house apartment. And we were playing poker. And how it was situated was it wasn't at mouth height. So I had to sort of crouch down a little bit to take the hit off of it. Now, as I'm like hunched over, I guess I was positioned in a way to where when I got up, I had to take in a breath with it. And it was like the pass out game in high school. You remember the pass out game in high school when you had to do that shit and then that shit and then somebody pressed against your chest and you would faint? This is how ghetto high school kids in New York used to just get fucking high.
We just dated ourselves.
So, that being said, right? I was ready to fucking drop, but what happened wasn't like the edible shit with the blinders. It was just like I went like this, and then everything and got way too big, and then I just like and even our friend David was like, oh, I caught myself on like my back heel. My center of gravity was better back then because I weighed a lot more. So I was able to stabilize myself.
Well, even at the Super Bowl, those dabs every 2 seconds. David's like, "No, you want another dab? You want another dab, Mike? Want another dab, Mike? Sure."
I had to stop after 2.
And everyone's like, "Mike, why aren't you talking to everyone? Why aren't you being more social?" I'm like, "This motherfucker fed me like 25 dabs."
Yeah, for all you guys who are watching, we just seen each other recently for the Super Bowl, and there was a dab marathon going on in one of the screen rooms. There were 2 different screen rooms for the Super Bowl, and in one of the screen rooms was the stoner room where everybody was going down fucking chiba and smoking some weeda, and our friend was just marathon dabbing, and I don't mean on the e-dab. He was fucking rigging it, and I had to tap out after 2 because I was like, look, listen, I gotta watch our buddy Matt, who is the only Eagles fan in the whole house, because that was the show that I was watching. Watching the emotion on his face while he watched this fucking football game is something else, dude.
It was so incredible.
I almost didn't want them to lose, and I kept telling him, I was like, nah, dude, the script is in. They're going to win. The script is in. They're going to win. And he believed it. He got really hype. And, dude, either way, I think I might have eaten some Eddies that, I will not, confirm or deny, but I think I did eat some Eddies that day. I'm pretty sure. And on top of those 2 dabs, I was just like, I can't do another one, because if I do another one.
Yeah, I'm glad Kansas City won as well.
I
don't hate the town.
Yeah.
I like this. They have awesome food. There's awesome cheesesteaks. The Pensy Market. No, Reading Terminal Market.
Yes.
Reading Terminal Market.
Yes.
Is fucking awesome.
And the museum where the Rocky statue is and all that shit. Right.
Yes. There's also the Liberty Bell and blah, blah,
blah. But the fandom is insane.
The fans there are fucking
We all said this, and it was repeated, and I said this before I knew it was a repeated thing on the internet, that win or lose, Philly will burn, and it did. They were flipping cars before the game started, And, I mean, either way, listen, a whole bunch of people got fat on barbecue. KC won. That's all that happened in Kansas City. You know what I mean? But, listen, maybe the fix was in. Who knows?
The fix was definitely in.
Maybe the fix was in with the fucking Fury ball fight.
I don't think there's any fix. Well, I think on that note, we should say goodnight, right?
Yeah,
Thanks for watching the Dumbfounded Dipshits podcast. I'm Mike. That is Ryan. We are going to go to bed now.
Yes. Watch out for those stampedes of heroin elephants.
Yes.
When they start getting the withdrawal symptoms, they're not very fucking, hospitable creatures.
71. No, tie me up. I was not born in 71.
No, I was born in 81. 10 years off. There's a 1 in there, but not a 7. But anyway, dipshits.
Take care.
Later.
Like, subscribe.
Dipshit.